The whole point of this whole thing is that this all emerges from source. You are a piece of source. The energy is flowing back and forth. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Stacy the Intuitive. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really exciting topic to talk about because it has changed my life, and I think it has the power to change the lives of all the people who watch this potentially. So first of all, I want to introduce the topic to you guys, let you guys know what I'm speaking about today. So I've had a lot of blockages with manifestation. I've been pretty okay at manifesting. I'm able to call things into my reality, but I have had trouble as it relates to my consciousness, my mindsets, and specifically as it relates to my understanding of how the process works. If you're one of the same type of people as me, then understanding is everything as it relates to this spiritual journey, as it relates to this process of understanding the self and understanding God. So the whole process for me is about this deeper level understanding that I can tune into in order to be able to navigate and make sense of the world, right? So for me, it hasn't been as easy as just like, oh, you manifest by feeling, or you manifest by, having a desire and, putting it out there. I could never wrap my mind around that. Just in a purely like logical mindset, I couldn't wrap my mind around how that works, or how that is actually unfolding in our reality. And so that would constantly get in my way of my ability to manifest things and call things in my life because of this non-logical, just sensible way of understanding, right? And so I constantly would ask God, like, help me to better understand, help me to have the mindset that is required to bring things into my reality. Because I would always find myself at places where I'm questioning, like, well, just because I want it, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's in God's will. And so for me to assert that, oh, I want this, and think that it's in God's will, felt a little bit contradictory to me and felt a little bit off-putting, because I didn't want to be putting myself in a space of being like, oh, I want this, so it's mine, when in my mind, it's all, I'm always trying to operate in terms with God's will. And for you, whoever that you kind of resonate with, God, universe, whatever, in general, I think this can be helpful for anyone. If you believe in a higher power, there is this energy of like, okay, well, what about this higher power and how they play into that? And what about free will and how, other elements play into us manifesting the things that we want? And so this video today is going to be helping you guys hopefully unlock the consciousness shift that I have just unlocked by sharing with you guys the things that I was downloaded, what I channeled about this information, so that you guys can too reach this consciousness shift that I've reached. Now, since having this consciousness shift like about a week ago, I have really been working on kind of implementing these things, and I have seen really beautiful results. Now, manifestation to me is honestly just a mode of prayer and just, all of that. So I never want to say it as like, I'm not praying to God and whatever about it, because that's what it is. It's just me praying to God and seeing the desire, feeling it, and that notion of having to feel it has a lot to do with it. And so I really want to share it. Let's just get straight into it. So the biggest thing that I want to get into is the first step to all of this is having the desire, the pure desire, right? So we come to this place where we have a desire. Maybe it's for a relationship, maybe it's for a job, maybe it's a career path. And we're like, okay, well, how do I get from point A to point B? How do I make it from realizing the desire to actually having it manifest in my life? And for me, there was always this big energy of like, okay, what is this process like? How does this process unfold? Is it just by me wanting it? How do I know if it's actually meant for me? Is it just because I want it? Does that mean that it's meant for me? And I've kind of realized that that is kind of the gist of it. It is in the wanting of the authentic and pure desire, the ability to connect with the self, and then connect to things externally from this place of self-connection, that we are able to create these energetic links and things, that we are able to create these energetic effects from our state from within and so without. I hope I'm making sense here. So let's do a relationship example. So say that you have a profound connection with someone and you're wanting it to manifest in your life or whatever. The fact that that desire does exist is symbolic of, some type of alignment in that sense. That alignment does exist. Now, there are subtle nuances to this, because there are times when your beliefs or your limiting constructs and, conditioning might get you to want something, and it might not necessarily be the best thing. And in those cases, you can still get the thing, But if you are trying to reach these higher levels of consciousness, it is super important that you prioritize first the inner self journey to actually understanding yourself, so that when you do embark on a desire, when you do have the spark of a desire, you know it's coming from an authentic place. And that's not to say that when you have conditioning and things like that, that you can't have the desire from an authentic place. But it's one thing to say, I have a connection with this person and I want it to manifest, and a completely different thing to say, I have an attachment to this person and I need this person. That is exactly what we are not trying to do. And so that's why it's super important in these processes to prioritize the learning, the unrooting, the unlearning, and the unconditioning, the deconditioning, whatever have you. Right? So then you're probably asking, okay, well, how do I know if I'm operating from conditioning or limiting belief? It is based on the emotions that come up, right? If you can get to a place where you feel like, oh, I just want this thing because I want it, and it's a very pure desire, and it doesn't matter how it unfolds for you, then you know that this is coming from a pure place. It really has a lot to do with, do you feel open to how it unfolds? Now, when we get to these places where we don't feel open, that's usually when we're operating from a place of control, from a place of limitation, from a place of codependency, and from a place of need, whatever have you. And those are the things we want to unroot. Now, when we have these things, does it mean that we're not able to manifest that thing? Like, say that you have a dream of being a speaker, a healing speaker or something like that, but you have this need for validation. Does that mean that the healing speaker is not authentic? No, but it does mean that that other belief does have the potential to get in the way of what is manifesting, right? And so for me, that was where my blockage was, because I was very aware of my own codependencies, attachments, things like that. And so I never wanted it to be like, oh, because I want this means that it's going to manifest. I was very aware of the fact that I had attachments and, limiting beliefs and things like that. So I was like, well, how do I know that I'm not just, trying to call this in from a place of attachment or limiting belief? And for me, so I did prioritize the process of unrooting and things like that, and that's a constant thing for me. But more so, I focused on trying to let go and things like that, and I just kind of let things unfold. I allowed God to be very present in the process for me, right? So as I'm kind of speaking about this concept that the innate desire kind of symbolizes to you that it is for you, let's get a little bit deeper into that, right? Because this will talk about how the whole external reality unfolds and attracts to you. Now, the fact that you are attracted to this thing is a symbol that it is also attracted to you on an energetic link, in the sense that if the connection exists in some way, shape, or form, that does mean that the energies are very subject to moving with one another in a synchronous, aligned flow, should both energies be synchronized and aligned. Again, we were just talking about that alignment energy. If your energy is unaligned, then it won't necessarily come to you in the way that you think. But if it is truly for you, then it will stay in your life and it will unfold as your energy unfolds. I think that's the biggest thing in understanding this manifestation process, is that a lot of us, we think that it's just going to happen, but it is truly a from within and so without process. So if you've been struggling or things aren't manifesting, it's normally not because of the fact that it's not for you, but normally because you are operating from a place that needs to be cleared out first. So for me, right, I had, I've been manifesting so many things. But specifically, I had found myself kind of reaching a wall as it relates to manifesting career, love, things like that. And I just constantly could not fathom the fact that just because I have the desire and I put it out there, that it could be mine. So I continuously tried to do this thing of controlling and blah, 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 and just placing all my energy on it, until I started to focus on the pure place of intention and desire. And that is when things started to unfold, when inspiration started to come, and when everything has started to be able to actually give me evidence of its manifestation. And that only comes from a place of being able to detach from those beliefs and things that would limit you from being able to get what you would desire in the first place. But really, the most important thing of understanding is that you are the magnet, right? So you attracting the feeling of wanting something in general is an indicator that it is for you. And it's not to say that you can bend the will of things, guys. I think that was a big thing for me too. I never wanted it to be like I felt like I was bending the will, because there are people who would navigate from that space of I can bend the will of these things, I can control reality, when that's not the truth. It's just saying that whatever is emerging from you is also emerging from without. And it's just a flowing process, an aligning process. It's not a process of you controlling the will of something. It's just that you are connected to what you are connected to, and you are able to flow in alignment with those connections. Should there be a point where you are not connected to that thing anymore, it is very possible that it could, you know, that desire could change, that alignment process could also change. So you cannot, I'm gonna preface this very strongly, you cannot bend the will of things. But because you are a part of source and all things around you are a part of source, it is totally possible for you to be the source of a desire, right? As it comes straight from source, and the source of all things to bring that desire back in a circle to you. Now, I don't have a fancy iPad or, you know, thing or anything like that, but I'm gonna try to illustrate this on a piece of paper. So we have source, right? The source of all things right here. And then we have something that emerges from source. This is you, right? This is you. We have another element that emerges from source, right? This is the object of your desire. We have the desire emanating from this direction. The whole point of this whole thing is that this all emerges from source. You are a piece of source. The energy is flowing back and forth the entire time. That's what it is. That doesn't change at any point, because this is always source. This desire is emerging, right? There is a connection to this thing simply because of the fact that this arrow is emerging from this piece of source. This connection between these things, necessary, inevitable, so long as one element is connected to the other. I know this is not that great of an illustration, but so long as this one element is connected to the other, there is a necessary connection to source there, guys. I'm not gonna continue on with this photo, but because it's looking a mess, but you get it, right? And so as one atom, as one individual, one being, whatever is directing that energy, it is coming straight from source. And because of that, there is a necessary connection that the other piece is going to have with the other one, even if they didn't direct the initial desire, right? And so from that space, there is always going to be this energy of attracting, pulling in, because the energy from source has directed you in that direction. And from that desire, it also will be attracting you, because how did it come into your reality? Do you understand that? The moment that your desire was set, that means that it was attracting you. It was attracting you, right? It was being desired by you. It pulled you in. And so now the whole process is about you pulling it in. And through that process, you are able to manifest it into your reality, because it always exists within the energetic, right? The connection that was going to be orchestrated was already existing in the energetic between that first source element and the second source element, okay? So I'm kind of saying this, I feel, in a very complex way, but I think it makes total sense. So since the desire is emanating from you, essentially all I'm getting at is that there is a necessary connection between that and that which you are wanting. Through that necessary connection, you are able to create whatever it is that you desire, whatever the object of the desire, because both things have an attraction towards one another simply due to emerging from a source, right? That should give you confidence in your ability to manifest. That should give you that energy of being able to relax and flow in the unfoldment, and actually being able to tune into that energetic feeling that exists that allows you to bring it down here. Because for me, I feel like I would always focus on what was not, right? Instead of what I wanted to be, or, what I wanted to be. And so I would get really stuck in the what is not, and the energy would just continue perpetuating that, rather than me just understanding, well, actually I can have this, because the desire is emerging from source, from point A to point B, and point A and point B are inevitably connected. And it's not that I'm trying to control the will of something. It's not that I'm trying to bend the will of something. It's not that I'm trying to bring down a manifestation that is not meant for me, because the desire emerged from source. But we stop acting within our place of being connected to source when we are connecting only to, you know, codependency and attachment and things like that. That's why it's so important to unroot that, because it will get in your way. But I do think that this mindset itself will support you in kind of coming out of that, because as you realize like this need for certain things and whatever, you will kind of like lay off of that once you already realize that it's yours. So it's really just about knowing that it's yours. And it's really hard to know that it's yours when you don't understand what would make it yours, right? So I do hope that this video was able to help some of you. I hope that it made sense. I hope that it helps you guys in manifesting. It really only has to do with the mindset shift. You can apply whatever methods you like, but it doesn't matter if you're scripting. It doesn't matter if you're doing the visualization method. It doesn't matter any of that if your mindset doesn't support that the manifestation can come into you, that it is valid, that you have it. So it's super important to just get this like preemptive information that'll support you in bringing whatever in. And I found this has helped me a lot only within the last few weeks. So I will see you guys next time. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye guys.